This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. I'm so delighted to meet here with you in these online lessons. In this video, I'm going to explain time signatures and how measures work in written music, which overlaps with the groove of a song or the meter of a song. So talk a little bit about that here in this video. This video accompanies the Theory and Technique book from my Method Book series. In the book, we're going to start there on page 9, which is where it goes over time signatures. Okay, so a time signature happens in written notation. It tells us how many beats are happening per measure. So measures are identified by bar lines or measure lines. And what those mean in the written music notation is that in between that space, we're going to have a certain number of beats. In the last video, I went over rhythm. So we looked at different rhythmic values that happen with notation that of course match how long we would hold an actual pitch or chord for and so on. Well, with measures, we're going to have a designated amount of time happening between each one of those. And this makes reading music easier as we know to expect a certain number of beats for each measure. This also overlaps with the groove of a song. A groove will have this repeating rhythmic pattern happening with it, whatever that groove is. If it's just something sort of basic like so versus whatever the groove of a song. There's so many different types of grooves or sort of time feels or just sort of metric feel, and all those things sort of interconnect even though they're not the exact same thing. But the feel of that song, all of that overlaps with this. It's going to have a metric feel to it that's going to go into that measure, and some grooves will have a metric feel that sort of goes over a couple measures. So you might have two measures that feel a little different. Might be a way that something might be notated. When we're looking at a measure in notation, and when we're looking at time signatures that we're going to talk about here in a second, we're really looking at trying to put what's happening in music onto the page so a person could read and play that music that is happening otherwise. A lot of the music that we play, we're not necessarily thinking about how it'd be notated. This is how we go about and notate it. So that groove that's happening is going to have some sort of metric feel that can be placed here inside these measures. Sometimes music happens in a way that is hard to stick maybe in one measure. Maybe we stick it over a couple of measures, that sort of thing. But in general, we've got this meter happening, and that's sort of this underlying rhythmic feel, and it may be going, that's going to match up and go with a groove of a song. Some songs you might say don't really have a groove. Maybe we're talking about classical music. We're not really thinking about a groove. We just might be thinking about this overall essence and feel, and that's going to have a meter happening underlying that. We're going to see that designated here with some of our time signatures as we write this in music notation. So let's look at a time signature. So if we're going to have an equal amount of time, an equal measurement of time happening between each measure, between each bar, these are also called bars, we need to know how many beats in essence is happening in each one of those measures or bars, and that's told us by our time signatures. So the time signature has two numbers, one above the other, written right next to the clef sign. If you have a key signature, which I've mentioned previously in videos, you're going to have that sitting actually in between the clef sign and the time signature. So we're not worried about any sharps or flats happening with our example here. So we just see the 4/4 as though we're in the key of C major, which has no sharps or flats. So the way these numbers work, the number on the top is telling us how many of the number on the bottom that we have per measure. So if we were to take the numbers on the bottom and put a 1 over and create a fraction, we have 1/4. That's telling us this bottom number, the number 4, is telling us quarter note. And again, we've got another quarter note. 1/2 for the one at the bottom of this example tells us we're talking half notes here. And then an 8th here, 1/8 is telling us, that 8's telling us we're talking eighth notes. So up above, we have in this case 4 quarter notes. In this case, 3 quarter notes. In this case, 2 half notes, and in this case, 6 eighth notes. So what that means is that we're going to have 4 quarter notes, or the rhythmic equivalent of that, per measure. So the rhythmic equivalent could be a whole note, because a whole note is worth 4 quarter notes combined. So like 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be a whole note. We could have 2 half notes, for example, or a half note and 2 quarter notes. All of those would equal the equivalent of 4 quarter notes per measure. When we have 3 quarter notes per measure, then we could have a dotted half note, or a half note and a quarter note, or a quarter note and a half note, or 3 quarter notes. That would be sort of the rhythmic equivalents that exist for that 3 quarter notes. With 2, 2, it's really interesting. 2 half notes is the same as having 4 quarter notes. So you might wonder, why do we use 2, 2 instead of 4, 4? And that's where it comes down to meter, or the feel that is happening, the metric feel that is happening. And I'm going to show you that in a second. So with this one, we'd have 6/8 notes, or the equivalent of that per measure. For example, 2 dotted quarter notes could be the equivalent of that. And you could have some other options as well. So when we get into meter, and really I'm just going to touch on it here, mostly I want to talk about time signatures and how that works, but when this crosses over to a song, and the reason things will be written in one time signature versus another is because of the metric feel. So there's going to be a little accenting pattern happening. We would know and hear and feel the difference between 4/4 and 3/4 just because we're going to emphasize what we call the downbeat, or the first beat in a measure. If we emphasize that one a little bit, we're going to hear a difference between 4/4 and 3/4. So just for example, if I have 4 quarter notes per measure, and each one happens, each time we have a new measure, if that one's a little emphasized or a little accented, we're going to hear that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if I only have 3 quarter notes per bar and that first one is accented, instead it's going to sound like 1, 2, 3. So hopefully you can hear a difference. I'll do 4/4. I'll do 3/4. If I were to demonstrate that with a chord, you'd have 1, 2, ready, and. If I do 3/4, if I had a strumming pattern that goes with that, it's going to change things as well. So if I did just a little simple G to C, for example, on 4/4 time, let's look at 3/4. They feel a little bit different. Now, 4/4 versus 2/2 feels different as well. These are really common time signatures. 4/4 is the most common one. It's actually known as common time. So you can just see a C written to represent 4/4 instead of the 4/4 written. And with this one, it's known as cut time. You could see a C with a line through it to represent cut time. So it explains that a little bit there on page 9. But with these, it's because there's a difference to the metric feel. That's why we would use one versus another. With 4/4 time, we're really going to feel all 4 quarter notes, or the feel of all 4 quarter notes, like 1, 2, 3, 4. If it was being conducted, you would feel all those 4 beats. But with 2/2, what happens is we really only feel 2 beats. So it's kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's really sometimes a matter of tempo. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Versus feeling more 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And sometimes it just depends on how somebody would rather write it. What somebody may feel in 2, someone else may be feeling in 4. But that's the difference between those two. 6/8 is really interesting. In the next video, I'm going to explain simple meter versus compound meter. 6/8 is actually in compound meter, where we group things together into groups of 3. So the metric fill here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because as you'll notice, you can have 6/8 notes in 3/4 time as well. So what's the difference between the two? Well, with 3/4 time, 1 and 2 and 3 and. With 6/8 time, 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a. It's all about that accenting pattern. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 versus 1 and a 2 and a. Get this tripletized feel. So that's just a little introduction into why we might use one time signature versus another, how we're going to feel the effects of it. Most of the songs we play, we're going to feel 4 beats per measure and would just be written in 4/4 time. But some of the songs we play are actually could be written in 3/4 or 6/8 or 2/2. They need to be written in something else, and these are not all the time signatures that exist. So there's some others out there. This really matters for guitar because when we have our string patterns happening, they're going to fit into a metric feel that overlaps and is going to be written out with a particular time signature. So that's a little introduction into reading notation and how the time signatures play into that. In the next video, we're going to look a little bit at compound meter versus simple meter, which actually overlaps directly with how time signatures work. So it's going to be great. Take care, and I'll see you again.
Thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And be sure to check out more great content. You can find more information about me and my products at KristenBromley.com. Take care.